Thanks to everyone who have subscribed. If you have not, please do. And thanks for coming out here. I really appreciate you. Ondo 2020. Fresh intrigues in PDP, APC over Ajayi's primaries. Nigerians, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time we're reaching you today. A very big thank you for your ever continuous, huge, and massive support. We truly, really appreciate you. Edo, Ondo elections is quite an interesting one. The one of Ondo State is taking a new turn and a fresh twist. We know that the person of Ashiwaju Bola Tinubu is particularly interested in the Ondo State election. By the way, the candidate whom he favors has been screened out for various reasons. The governor of Ondo State is having issues even with his deputy. And we know that with the elections ticket that comes, it comes in pair, talking about the governor and his deputy together is not a separate ticket. It is one and the same, such that what binds the governor binds the deputy. What binds the deputy binds the governor, vice versa. Like what happened in Bayelsa State when we saw that the APC candidate, according to INEC, won the election. But what was the reason for his disqualification? He's a deputy who was found with fraudulent results. Anyway, guys, fresh intrigues assumes Ondo elections, the primaries, which is around the corner. Please stay tuned to Apple Line Media as we bring you authentic, reliable, and current news with all that is going on with regards to this election. PDP, APC, what an interesting party to participate in this election. Let's get into the news and get all the details. Ondo State Deputy Governor Alfred Agbola Ajayi refusal to resign his position after deflecting to the opposition party PDP, the People Democratic Party, and the All Progressive Congress decision to adopt indirect mode of primary election have combined to heat up the state's political threat as the two leading political parties prepare for primary elections in the state. Although many have predicted an interrogatory electoral campaigning during this year's governorship election in Ondo State, only a few could have investigated the grasping drama currently being unraveled in the state ahead of July 22nd, 2020 primaries. Two issues have combined probably more than any other: the heat up the political terrains and the political parties preparing for the primaries in the state. There are the state deputy governor, Alfred Agbola Ajayi, refusal to resign his position even after deflecting to the opposition party, the People Democratic Party (PDP), a development that is causing rampage in PDP, whose flag he now wants to bear to fly the All Progressive Congress decision to adopt the indirect mode of primary election in spite of criticism and protests by some of its members, including governorship aspirants. Concerned observers told the nation that the way the two critical developments are handled will ultimately determine the outcome of both the primaries and governorship election in the state. In spite of the decision of the Chief Judge of Ondo State, Justice Akeredolu, to reject the move by the State House of Assembly to impeach the Deputy Governor of the state, Honorable Alfred Agbola Ajayi, there is no respect yet to the embittered number two man as the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), his former party, and his new platform, the People Democratic Party (PDP), continue to break over whether or not Ajayi should remain in office as the deputy governor of the state. Akeredolu's rejection was contained in his response to the House of Assembly, later directing her to Constitution as constitutes a 7-man impeachment panel to probe allegations of gross misconduct levied against the state deputy governor. The Chief Justice, in her presence, rejected the request on the ground that the two-thirds majority requested by the 1999 Constitution for setting up such a probe panel was not formed in the House of Assembly, and not the matter and that the matter was subjective. Only 14 out of the 26 members of the House signed the impeachment notice, while 9 other members disagree and refuse to the impeachment plot. The 9 members have also written a letter to the Chief Justice of the state themselves from the ongoing plans to impeach the deputy governor of the state. Recall that the deputy governor has equally approached the Federal High Court to hail his planned impeachment. But the force against the deputy governor are more than just members of the House of Assembly, and he is yet to be saved from being removed from office. It seems chieftains and members of the APC in the state have resolved to stop at nothing to affect his removal from office before October global election in the state. Recently, hundreds of protesters in Ondo State's governor's office in Akure, the state capital, has marched demanding the immediate resignation of the state deputy governor Agbola Ajayi. Eyewitnesses' accounts contains that the protesters were mainly members of the ruling party driven from across the state. The crowd urged the state government and the House of Assembly to ensure that Ajayi is removed from office immediately. The protesters vowed to occupy the State House of Assembly complex should the lawmakers face to impeach the deputy governor in 7 days' time. Speakers after speakers insist that it was mainly wrong for Ajayi to hold on to power after deflecting from the APC that gave him the platform to become deputy governor in the state. They were armed with placards with different inscriptions. They chanted Ajayi Agbola's song, asking him to resign as deputy governor of the state. Some inscription on the placard reads, APC will not share power. Agbola Ajayi is a traitor. Agbola Ajayi must resign now. Agbola Ajayi must go. Agbola Ajayi rejects sabotage. Go to PDP. Leave us alone. We don't want Agbola Ajayi again, among others. There was serious traffic jam at the entrance of the governor's office while the protest lasted. Honorable Saliu, our former councillor in the state and one of the leaders of the protesters, said he never expected Ajayi to behave the way he did, calling him a traitor and an ingrate. He insisted it will be honorable for the deputy governor to resign or be impeached by the State House of Assembly. Also, the leadership of APC in the state have reiterated his call on Ajayi to resign his position following his deflection to the People Democratic Party. The party is in a release by the publicity secretary, Alex, said we wish Honorable Ajayi had not taken his decision after a series of efforts and attempts by royal fathers and party leaders from within and outside the state to foretell his migration. His statement that he will not resign is vexation enough. It is imperative to remind Honorable Ajayi that he ran on an APC ticket given to him. Olurarotimi and Akeredolu San together both were sponsored by the party. Now that he chooses to deflect, the party advises Agbola to toe the path of wisdom and resign honorably, as the deputy governor of Ondo State, APC, wishes him and his followers a safe trip to the People Democratic Party. We will, however, be willing to reimburse them whatever he has spent during his steps to them. But it appears Ajayi is not alone in his struggle to remain in office while being a card-carrier member of the opposition party in the state. The People Democratic Party had not hidden its readiness to support him for as long as he stays on course. As a sign of his support for Ajayi's decision to dump the the APC and join his fold, the party granted a waiver to the deputy governor to participate in his governorship primary election. My dear, APC PDP is very, very messy. You won't believe. There is no rest either in Edo State, Ondo State, with regards to this election. Game on. What do you think? Bye for now.